Top sales talent very rarely is on the market and looking for a job. So when they do want to leave, what is it that gets them to leave their current situation? Find out the top 8 reasons in this episode. Welcome to the Bite Size Sales Podcast, where we believe that you don't need to take time out of the field or off the phones, stuck in a classroom, in order to get great sales and sales leadership training, and that taking bite-sized steps each day to get better at your craft is the best way to improve your results. I am your host, Andrew Monahan, and I'm using my 20 plus years in B2B sales to bring you simple, actionable ideas that you can use every day to help you get better. Before we get to the tip for today, this episode is sponsored by Sales Bluebird. Most of us don't have time to keep up with the latest sales ideas and all the blogs, podcasts, and news articles every week. Sales Bluebird curates content from all these sources and gives you 1 thought from me, 2 quotes from others, and 3 sales leadership ideas once a week in your email inbox for free. Sign up right now at salesbluebird.com. Welcome to episode 72 of the Bite Size Sales Podcast. And this episode is all about how to think about attracting and shifting great sales talent from their current role into your company. And it's not easy, right? These people are not just randomly looking for jobs. It's very rare that they're truly on the market. They're not out there looking at job postings and applying for jobs. They've got a track record. People know who they are. They want to bring them on board. And it's not usually easy for them to walk away from what they're doing. They're often at really good companies, and they're often in situations where they're doing pretty well, right? So in those situations, why would someone like that ever leave? A number of years ago, Sales Benchmark Index did some work around this, and I kind of paraphrased some of it and put it into this list of 8 things that are reasons why top sales talent leave. And I was in a role recently at a company where I was doing a lot of the early screens as we were looking to bring people into the sales team. And it was rare that I would talk to someone from one of 2 or 3 companies which were high flying in our industry, right? And it was very, very rare that it was someone from those companies who was doing really, really well and is seen as a top talent. But I did notice some of the trends here, right? Some of the things I'm going to talk about, I saw it. When I asked them why looking to leave, there was a couple of things on the list that I heard again and again. So it really rings true for me. And I remember at the time thinking, these are things I should probably listen out for or look out for as we're working some of the candidates coming in. So let me tell you what the list is, and I'll go through each one in turn. The first one is a change in sales manager. And, I think maybe the more important part of this is a change in the style of sales manager, right? If a new person comes in and they're completely different to how you like to be managed or like to be led, then that's going to cause you problems, right? Maybe there's a difference in values about that sales manager. Anytime there's a difference in values between 2 people, that's where it gets really, really rocky, right? So you imagine you're a high-flying rep at a high-flying company, and suddenly the manager changes, and it's actually someone you know and you trust and you get on well with. That's probably not going to impact you too much. But imagine it's not, right? Imagine it's someone from outside you never heard of before, and immediately they come in and start asking for activity spreadsheets or something like that, right? And you're just not that, make 100 cold calls a day type of person. This is going to cause you a lot of stress. And you're going to say, I can't work for this person. And I know I've heard it from people in the past as new people come in and you internally in the company, you go, how's the new guy doing? And they start rolling their eyes, right? There's a mismatch there immediately. The second thing on the list is comp plan changes. And, this happens a lot, right? Every year there's always tweaks to the comp plan. I think where I've seen this have the biggest impact is when there's a shift in the company about which groups have the most power. So here's what I mean by that, right? Anytime you're at a sales-led company where sales is really driving things and driving the company forward and the sales leader is really strong and politically aligned internally, then usually the things go well for the sales team, right? Things go your way. The comp plan is rich, but not stupid. It's attractive. You can look at it and go, yes, this is good. I can make some money. It's simple. It's understandable. It's not too complicated. And if I do these things, I can see how much I'm going to make, right? But sometimes the balance of power shifts. And I've seen a couple of companies actually where finance takes over, and then they start want to, cut away at the comp plan. They think that salespeople get paid too much, right? And you're there as a high flying rep in a company that's going places, and suddenly you look at your new comp plan and you go, well, hold on. If I do the same as I did last year, probably in a smaller territory, I'm not going to get paid nearly so much as I was before. Why is all these changes? It makes no sense. And suddenly, it gets to the heart of someone to say, my goodness, I could work my ass off this year and I still wouldn't make what I did last year or the year before. So therefore, comp plan changes can have a big problem. And the same thing goes with a comp plan change is a quota increase, right? And it's interesting. I mean, I've looked at this, I've experienced this in all different sides. And at the end of the day, if you're a company that's growing, the sales team is expected to do more. So either you take a bigger quota or you get, there's more people and you take a territory cut, right? But how it's handled is so important, right? I mean, if someone gets their quota doubled, and I've heard horror stories interviewing people about, things that have gone on, and there's something expecting so much more from reps that are just not achievable, not attainable on any sort of scale. And quota increases is one of those areas. The fourth one is sales leadership change, and we've all seen this where the head of sales is the person that gets changed up. I had it happen to me recently at a company where a new leader came in and he and I just did not see eye to eye about what I should be doing and what the real impact should be and how to go about doing things. And, I left that company because of that, the CRO came in with a completely different vision. And I could just sit there and say, I could see how I can make an impact, but I can't make nearly as much of an impact as I think is needed and I know is needed if I go down the plan that he wants us to go down. And these CROs come in, head of sales come in, and they can have that type of impact, right? And we've seen it all where the focus of the sales team might change because of what the sales leader believes what's needed. Maybe you go from a very highly direct company into more of a channel company. Maybe you're all about partners, and the new person says, no, we're going to build our business by going direct all the time. I don't know, right? These people have such a huge impact on how we do our jobs and the variables that a sales leadership change can actually result in a big shift in the sales force. The fifth one is product issues. And, at the end of the day, products are products, right? Really great sales teams and salespeople can really work with what they're given. But there's a huge but here, right? When it impacts your ability to deliver great things for your customers, that's where, for many of us, it becomes more of a challenge, right? If there's a track record for new features slipping, if you're out there working on a roadmap and setting expectations with your customers and prospects that things are coming and they don't come, then you yourself lose credibility as a top rep, and therefore you don't want to keep going down that situation. You feel like the product itself is undermining you, not just your ability to book business, but also undermining your credibility. So any kind of changes in that world, or continuous slipping, or poor quality products, things like that, can cause salespeople to leave. The next one on the list is one that happened to me recently. Company has been acquired. And, they don't want salespeople. They don't need the current salespeople. They've got their own salespeople, whatever it might be, right? When the company is acquired, there's a lot of uncertainty that goes with it. And sometimes what they'll say is, look, we don't want to change anything. We want you guys to keep operating and keep doing your thing. And for a certain time, that may be true. But I think we've all seen this where at some point in the future, in a few weeks, sometimes, or maybe in a year or two, then they're going to change things around and bring that whole acquisition into their fold somehow. And the one I went through recently, they didn't want our salespeople because they had their own salespeople, right? So, the whole sales team got laid off. And obviously, top reps as well. They just decided they didn't want many of us at all. So that caused some great reps to be on the market all of a sudden. Next one here is no upward career opportunities. So, it's funny, the company's not growing very fast, then it's rare that there's a whole myriad of different opportunities to move up. And for many of us, we want to stay being top performing reps. And for many of us, we don't, right? And sometimes that might change for you. I've known sales reps who are just top performers, want to keep doing that for 10 years. And then suddenly they get the itch to say, you know what, I want to challenge myself a little bit. I want to grow a little bit. I want to take on a team and go do new things, right? And at that point, that person may or may not feel there's an opportunity to do that at their existing company. And that might be an opportunity for them to move on and go somewhere else. And the last thing on the list is territory changes. And this one happens a lot. It's a lot easier to change territories than it is to change quota and comp plans in a company, right? And it doesn't have to be wholesale changes, but if you're looking at a region or a geo or whatever, and you get a whole bunch of reps, and I've experienced this. You're looking at the map and you're looking at addressable market in each region, each territory, and you start moving things around. Before you know it, as a leader, as an operations person, it's way too easy to start moving states and cities and accounts around, not truly understanding the impact it's going to have on the individuals in these situations, right? And you hope that someone comes in as the voice of reason sometimes and say, well, let's not make wholesale changes. Let's figure out, the right thing for the people, not just where we allocate territories. But often it doesn't happen that way, right? And you can have, and I've seen this and I've heard this, top reps say, listen, I've worked these, whatever it is, 15 accounts for 5 years, and suddenly they just come along and take away 6 of them because we got some new policy that says that, I can't have more than 10 or 9 or whatever it is, right? And these weird arbitrary things happen and they get forced down upon even the top reps. And they kind of, sometimes if it's a decision made above without the best view of the individuals in the sales team, you get great sales reps who are like, you know what, screw this. I'm going to go and look somewhere else. So these are 8 things to listen out for. When you're working to get great talent, when you're talking to them and you're feeling them out, these are some areas to ask questions about, right? And to ask them how they think they'll handle it if it happens. So you're not trying to scare them with the idea that, did you know that, it's likely that your territory is going to get cut. But what you can do is say, look, as your company grows, I'm sure one of 4 or 5 things is going to happen. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are about how you might handle that, right? And they might say, well, I don't really care about leadership changes, but what I do care about is these 10 accounts I've got. I know that these are the kinds I've always worked with. And, if someone comes along and says you can't have them, then I'm going to have a problem with that. And then that might be your in to really work that person so that if it ever does change, then you're ready to swoop in and say, listen, I can give you those 10 accounts in my team. Why don't we come and talk about joining the team? So there you go. There's 8 reasons to leave. Figure out how to use those when you're working with great reps that you want to attract into the team to try and get some leverage or give them reasons to make this big switch. Change for reps does not happen easily if they're happy where they are, right? So these are some things to look out for. If you like this podcast, the most useful thing you could do to support it is share it with just one person. It will mean the world to me, but more importantly, for that one person, it may well transform how they lead and also their results in the coming quarters and years. It will take you just 20 seconds. All you have to do is click the share icon in your podcast app and follow the prompts. Also, I need your suggestions, please. If you have a topic you want me to cover or just want to get in touch, simply email me at upside@unstoppable.do. That's upside@unstoppable.do. And now to wrap up this episode. Training without implementation is just entertainment. So if you heard something today that you want to use, take action right now and keep getting better every single day. And finally, I'm signing off as the great Joe Sexton would by saying, gone to sell.